This video is brought to you by Milanote. As you all well know at this point, I have the propensity for dressing like a vampire. I can't tell you how many times I've been compared to a vampire by my audience, unprompted. Maybe it's my nocturnal habits, ghostly aura, and the fact that I will turn into a pile of dust when exposed to sunlight. Like you all just know. But despite my vampy disposition, I have yet to do a full-blown vampire Halloween costume on this channel, which is kind of baffling to me. So friends, today, I transform into my true self. So one of my apprehensions about doing a vampire look in the past is that that's kind of already how I dress on a daily basis. So I was a little worried about being boring and not being like a grand couture look, because those are the vibes that I tend to go for my big Halloween costume. So in such circumstances, I like to use the part of my brain that thinks, and I like to get a little designy. A couple of years ago, I created this design for a spooky character design video, and you guys really want me to make this dress at some point. I still might, but slow your roll. It's not what we're doing today. But I did want to use it as a piece of inspiration and take the concept of cathedrals and Gothic architecture and gargoyles and vampires and blend them into one cohesive costume idea. So with all of these somewhat disparate aesthetics in mind, let's get designing.
So I had initially played with this concept in my sketchbook, and unfortunately I didn't get footage of that sketch, but I did refine it a little bit on my iPad. For this concept, I decided to go for a super dramatic, long-lined corset with super flared hips, decorated like a white cathedral, long skirts on the bottom, open in the front, sleeves that look like wide bat wings with Gothic designs on them, a matching bolero with the sharp queen color, and some gargoyle horns.
This year's costuming project was actually kind of difficult to come up with and narrow down, which is why I'm thankful to this video's sponsor, Milanote, for helping with my planning process. Milanote is a tool for organizing creative projects just like this one. It's an online canvas that lets you plan and organize in a way that actually makes sense to you, and I love it because I can chicken scratch out my ideas the exact same way I do on paper. But it's organized and all in one place, and I don't throw them out by accident. My main issue going into this project is that I had too many ideas. I know, terrible problem to have, right? So after I set up my main board by selecting the craft project plan template from their over 100 built-in template options, I created a brainstorm board where I could organize my ideas and try to narrow down the general vibe of what I was most passionate about making this year. I love the various tools I can use to help visualize my ideas, like notes, arrows, or even annotations by directly writing or drawing on my boards. I also threw together a general inspo board of a few images that were really inspiring me right now. From there, I finally built my main mood board to help me illustrate and actually design my costume, which consists of so many cool images and color palettes. I also used the Milanote web clipper browser extension constantly whenever I was researching and brainstorming for this project, which is quite possibly my favorite tool that they offer. You can easily download the extension on Chrome, and then you can use it to save images, links, and videos directly to whichever board you want. And that way, I never miss out on a piece of inspiration whenever I'm on one of my extensive Pinterest scrolling sessions. I love how organized Milanote keeps huge projects like this because I can do all of my designing and research and shopping all in one central location. I can have boards to brainstorm materials and keep all my links in one place, create shopping and task lists, and I can even create boards for niche parts of a project like I did with my photo shoot plans. And if you work with other creatives on projects, you can even share your boards with your creative team to receive feedback and even collaborate on your boards with them in real time. For this project, I shared my boards with an art friend of mine to see what they thought of my overall plan so far, and it was really helpful to have an extra set of eyes on my frazzled design process. So if you're planning your own spooky costume, a photo shoot, or any creative project soon, Milanote is available for free with no time limit, so sign up for a free account using my link in the description. Thank you so much to Milanote for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Hello there. Welcome to day one. So of course the first step of this project is going to be patterning everything out. And once again, in classic Kira fashion, I did not manage to get a full ref sheet design made in time to film this, so I am just using the most basic concept art that I have in my sketchbook right now to guide me through this entire project. So I've already got the base garments for this project. I'm just gonna reuse the stuff that I made in my like fall whimsy goth video. So the main things that we gotta get patterned out. Yet another ridiculously complicated corset situation. Also, giant bat wings that are kind of attached onto my arms so I can make them fly around. For the base of my pattern, I have a couple of old patterns here that I could potentially reuse. I really want the shape of this corset to be long line, dramatic, Victorian type nonsense. So I have some longer corset patterns here that go down below my hips and have like a little bit of hip spring to them. I have this corset pattern that was originally, I think, an 1860s Victorian one that I have altered a little bit. And then I also have this S-bend corset pattern, which I have mocked up, so I know this fits me pretty well. I am going to be doing my Warbler corset nonsense, so I don't know how well S-bend with all of this like engineering in it will translate to thermoplastic on my body. But I kind of want to see if I can make this work, so I'm gonna start out using this as a bit of a base. Hello, tiger. My general plan is to just lay down on some poster board and mark my wingspan. This floor is very dirty. We're not gonna worry too much about that. This is the top of my shoulder, and then arm goes like this. Then from here, I think the general plan is to have some like boning in here and everything to help keep the structure as it goes out. Just draw a general wing shape going past my arm. Something tells me this is perhaps slightly too big. This is very big. Okay, I need to scale back the size of this bat wing because it's kind of too big. It's still too big, isn't it? Is that better?
Finally satisfied with the size of my wing, I proceeded to cut both wings out of 2 layers of organza, and then I proceeded to attach the boning onto the wings with hot glue because I really could not be bothered with sewing whenever it came to this. I maintain that it's fine, and you can't even tell.
So now that I've got this corset in like a pretty good position, it's upside down. So now, we warble. I always hate that part. Just doing normal things in my basement. Montage.
The corset assembled, I had to figure out how to make all of this picky little detail that's going to go on the corset. And given that the shapes in Gothic architecture are some of the most intricate designs you can make, there's absolutely no way that I was going to try to sculpt this by hand, cut all of these tiny little designs out of EVA foam. There was just no way. So I embarked on a search through the interwebs to find a method so that I didn't have to make these. The 2 ideas that I came up with were either A, using Gothic architecture inspired silicone molds that I would find on Etsy and various places and fill them with either resin or hot glue, or B, find some 3D models and simply 3D print them. And seeing as how B was completely passive and I was very busy at the moment, I chose option B. I went with the 3D prints. From there I managed to track down a pack of Gothic windows from Gothic Things on My Mini Factory for only $10, so I purchased those, slapped them in my slicer software, and got to printing.
She's literally going as we speak. She's working so hard, look at her go. That'll only take like another 5 hours or so. Hello. It's now been several days since we last spoke, and I have had my 3D printer going pretty much that entire time, and that has resulted in quite a delicious pile of 3D prints. These are some good ingredients to cook with right here. I also had quite a few failed prints. The amount of times I would walk down into my garage and just see my 3D printer printing spaghetti into just the ether. It would print most of it, and then the very top, it would just fail. It's supposed to look like this. Very frustrating, but I think I finally have all of the pieces that I actually need. Of course, most of these still have the supports on them, so let me take care of that. Hello there, it is now the day after Halloween. It always makes me so sad. So this is where I am so far on my corset. It's a lot. I feel like I do have a bit of a fit issue in the back where the material, seeing as how it's plastic, is just not as pliable as fabric. So it's not, sucking me in the way the fabric version of this corset did, but it should be fine. I'm probably just gonna leave it as it is. But I would say for the most part, the decorating on this is close to done. Still a couple more things that I think I wanna add, but I have pretty good progress on this at this point. So now I need to shift gears a little bit and work on like the Bolero color part of this, because I haven't done that at all. So I just purchased a couple of patterns off of Etsy. I got a big color pattern from Kamui Cosplay, and then the other pattern that I got is a Bolero from, I literally looked up the name like half an hour ago and I've already forgotten it. Very cool. Fingerprint props. I've already cut those patterns out, made sure they fit, and did little mock-ups. And then for the Bolero itself, I have also done a couple of alterations so that it fits my design a little bit better. Made it a little sharper, more spindly. And then I have done the same thing to the color as well, because I do want it to look kind of like that spider web, batwing webbing type design. So now I need to very quickly make the color itself so that I can get to the fun part of decorating it, because that's really what I care about.
So taking my white crystal organza, I cut out 2 layers for each piece. And then I freehand stitched parallel boning channels along every sharp point on the design. Then I cut bones to size for each channel. Glued bones along the bottom side of the collar to give it more structure. Did the same for the Bolero piece, and then glued those pieces together. Listen, I know there's a lot of hot gluing going on here, but I didn't feel like sewing this stuff. I also, you guessed it, glued on a little bit of craft foam to clean up some of those raw edges.
So now that I have my color in Bolero more or less fully assembled, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit here and try to get the wings functioning. So I have the base of the wings mostly assembled here. The method we're looking at, basically out to my sides like this with the wings attached to my arms so I can like move them, flap around. I might need to add a little bit more structure in the ends so that the wings actually stick out the way they're supposed to. But the way I'm gonna try to attach these to my arms is just using some white gloves. That way, hopefully, I can just slip the white glove on and then my wings will be on and stay in place. Now, I am currently debating which method I'm going to use to do this, because I could be smart and sew it. I could also commit a crime against nature. I don't know which one I want to do yet. So part of me is thinking, I'm gonna just try the crime against nature. And if it doesn't work, we'll try sewing. When is hot glue gonna sponsor my channel? Like hot glue, the concept? You guys don't know just how loyal I am to you and your cause. My entire channel is practically hot glue propaganda at this point. So I think the general method here is, of course, step 1, line the floor. Stretch my arm all the way out and mark with chalk my wingspan. How are you guys doing? Good fall season so far? I'm doing great. Very normal, actually. Okay, cool, cool, cool. You have to coordinate the left and the right glove. I guess I just put like a line of glue. Kids, you're not gonna learn this one in art school. There we go. This can't miss, right? Just be glad I didn't put my arm inside it whenever I was putting the hot glue on, because I thought about it and then I said, ooh, no. First-degree burns don't sound appetizing tonight. That seems to have worked pretty well so far, honestly. As long as I can get the other arm even, I think that this will be good. Like, look at my range of motion. I feel like if someone was talking bad to me, I could just right in the face with this. Just doing some very normal things with hot glue. Okay, moment of truth. Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, I feel dramatic right now. Now I need to reinforce this so that my wing actually sticks out, because right now I look pathetic.
I was gonna try and glue all these spindly little fingers that I made a couple of years ago on there, but it was just a nightmare trying to hold things. So I ended up keeping just the thumbs glued on there so it looks like that little bat thumb thingy.
So next I need to very quickly make some little matching gargoyle horns. Now I think how I'm gonna do this is use the crown from my Spider Queen costume as a base and then just like build onto this because I neglected to purchase a headband or anything else I could use for this. I think this is kind of the style that I'm going for, but also maybe like this kind of vibe. I also like these. I don't know, I think the general idea is to kind of make it look gargoyle, but also bring those elements of the cathedral spire into the build because I tried to 3D print some of those to go on this costume, and every single time I tried, they all failed spectacularly. Well, that's just great. Wow, amazing, so cool. I love it whenever my print fails for like the 10th time. So I don't have any little spires that I can put on here, but I'm gonna try my best to get the aesthetic at that. For size, so maybe like that. So for starters, I'm just gonna bulk these out with a little bit of aluminum foil. Sorry about the noise. There we go. And then we just smother that in foam clay. Foam clay tears like a dinner roll at the Olive Garden. This clay also, so you know, it feels like sculpting with mozzarella. So when I do this method for sculpting horns, I usually just clump the clay on there. I'm just gonna make it look good with my wood burning tool later anyways. And now I'm just going to attempt to attach this onto this crown. So this is the horn position that I ended up settling on, and I think it works pretty well. I ended up not wanting to cover up these little spires in the front. I hope that it's reading as gargoyle, or at the very least, reading is just like, cool. That's like the least that I can ask, you know? Also, if it looks kind of stupid just there, I can't put it on all the way because the foam clay is still drying. It'll look better later on, I promise. So I've been trying to figure out how to add some Gothic patterns to the Bolero piece and the wings. I thought about craft foam. I thought about trying to do it with more boning. Most of the methods I've come up with sound absolutely exhausting and tedious and frankly not worth my time. So I think what I'm going to try to do is honestly just paint them on or see if I can. I have some Deleter white manga ink here, and this stuff is really opaque and it goes on nice with basically just one coat. So I'm gonna try to do some sample patterns in the front here, see how it goes. And if it goes well, I think I'll continue on to some other parts of the Bolero and try it on the wings. I'm not confident this is gonna work, but I think it's worth a try. One Mod Podge layer took absolutely forever to dry, but it's finally dry, so now I need a base paint. So now that I've got the base of my corset primed and then airbrushed a little bit, all I have to do is go in and dry brush over it a little bit with white, and then I also have some of this kind of pearlescent metallic white. I think it's gonna go really well with the organza that I have. I'm gonna try to do this in such a way that I still have like some shadows and dimension with all of these 3D prints, but it doesn't come out looking too, I don't know, dark. Everything else is pretty much like stark white, so if this ends up with too much dimension, I think it's going to look a little bit weird. Also, hello, executive producer. Oh, she's inspecting the work. She's praying though. Oh no, that's some good purring. I just want people to be able to see the windows because they took forever to print and it took forever to take those supports off. It was annoying. Okay, let's do it. Okay, we are on the home stretch. So for all of these windows that I have here that are still kind of transparent, I have a creative idea. One of the most beautiful elements of a cathedral is, of course, the stained glass windows, but there is absolutely no way that I was going to hand paint stained glass windows on this project. However, I got a little creative and I did pick up this faux stained glass film you can put on like an actual window and it'll reflect little rainbows onto your wall. It's pretty sick. I was thinking I can put this on the back side of all of my windows, and then you know that you guys can't get away from a Halloween project without me adding gratuitous LEDs. I don't know what color I would want to do, honestly. Something like that. Hopefully this will work, because I couldn't think of literally anything else.
Step was to string some of this beading that I had all over the corset because I am a maximalist and I decided it just wasn't enough detail. And with that all finished up, it's time for the reveal. Good evening. Welcome to the end of the video. This was so much work, but I had so much fun working on this. It's just exactly me, isn't it? It's also a good but easier and more comfortable to wear than I thought it would be. Granted, I still can't sit down, but we all have to make sacrifices for fashion sometimes. I'm just really happy with how everything came out, honestly. I think the only issue that I had was like, I don't know how well you can see that. The lacing in the back didn't quite fit. Doesn't lace close it all the way. But I ended up only partially lacing it. It's enough to like get the silhouette how I want. Like this covers so much of the back of this costume. No one's paying attention to the lacing anyways, it's fine. Anyways, that's enough rambling. I hope that you guys enjoyed your spooky season. I am so glad and so thankful that you decided to spend some of your spooky season with me, even if it's just for the duration of this video. If you want to spend a little bit more time engaging in whatever this is, you can subscribe. There's plenty more where this comes from. If you would like to show some affection to the video, you can leave a comment for the algorithm, like the video, you know, tell it it's pretty. But as always, the biggest thank you for this video and every single one of my videos goes to my lovely patrons, and especially my very voluptuous
executive producers.
Alcerbatum, Ren, Bandolph the Yellow, Cloud Max, Marita Wasner, Villy Smelly, Stabby Horse, Ariana Trenta, Ember Creeps, Jaden Cypher, Cardia X, Christina Kimtia Art, Call Me Ash, Blaze Ravenscar, Lunira, Mossy Raven, Witches by Phoebe Ellis Lowe, I'm not saying that name on the internet, ABW Makes, Sarah, Ice Kavan, A Wendu, Liana, Ermlerjean, Anubix, Breeza, Sony, Brian, Phoenix, PNG Not Found, Freedom and Gus Gus, Cat, Dodo, Zyle S, Agent.Sketchy, Thea Maia, Lovisa, Eloquent Silence, Enozyne, India Gloom, Hypnos, Katie, Sweet Winter Garden, Gravity Drop, I Hang Out with Cats at Parties, and Bean the Bread.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go sit down. Something I haven't done in a couple of hours. Like I said, I cannot sit in this